Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Cover to Cover. You're here with Mo,
Andrea,
and Morgan.
So today we want to talk about book-to-screen adaptations, the Harry Potter documentary, and author Jason Reynolds. But first, did you guys know that November is National Novel Writing Month? Well, it is, and we are going to be celebrating all month long.
NaNoWriMo, short for National Novel Writing Month, is a nonprofit organization and movement started by freelance writer Chris Beatty in 1999, and 18 years later, it is stronger than ever. The goal of NaNoWriMo is to bring writers together with a common goal of completing a 50,000-word manuscript in the month of November.
50,000 words? That is equal to 1,667 words per day. This year's participants are expected to exceed 400,000 writers and be comprised of over 646 regions that span 6 continents, practically the whole world.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about this movement? I mean, are you excited to see what comes out of it?
Yes, absolutely. So NaNoWriMo has had a lot of really big successes, and I wrote down a couple to just tell you about. Water for Elephants by Sarah Green was a really big book that came out. Of course, it got a big screen adaptation starring Reese Witherspoon, so that was a huge win. The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern is a more recent success, and I got to hear her speak at an event a couple years ago when her book came out, and I read it, and it's fantastic, and it's slated to become a movie as well. The Cinder series by Marissa Meyer is a really big fantasy series for young adult people that adapts fairy tales to be sci-fi for YA readers. Anyways, there's a lot of great manuscripts that come out of just sitting down and writing for 30 straight days.
It's so cool that writers are coming together. So in their first year, there were only 20-something people who participated.
Isn't that crazy?
And now there are so many writers coming together. Obviously, we've had some big things come out of some of these books, and they've just made some really cool things out of this. So they have achievement badges for some of the writers now. They also feature weekly pep talks from esteemed authors like Alexander Chee, Jenny Han, Maggie Steffvater. And the theme this year is Your Novel, Your Universe. So, I mean, are any of you guys thinking about participating? What's going on? Are you guys going to participate in your 50,000-word manuscript during the month of November? Better get started today.
I think I am.
Yeah, well, actually, guys, I don't know if you know this, but on GoRead.com, we do have a writing platform. It is for nonfiction writers, though, but it teaches you how to write a book in 30 days or less.
Oh, so they should take that. They should go back in time, already take that course, and then try to sit down again.
They can sit down this month. We can help you do it if you wanted to. If you don't,
Yeah.
I don't think I can make up a story that long and elaborate, but I think I can write a nonfiction book.
For sure.
You're a creative person. I think you come up with something today.
I don't think I can write that much.
That is super long.
Well, I think you could do it, and I think anyone could do it, and everyone should try.
I did meet someone last week in Denver, Colorado, who was telling me about the book that he wrote last November.
Oh, great.
And he's hoping to get it published.
Yeah, that's the goal.
And I was like, wow. He said it was really hard, but he did it.
That's awesome.
It's a thriller, so.
Very cool.
I love it.
Very cool.
Well, many of those past NaNoWriMo success stories will undoubtedly go on and be converted into movies or TV shows. In fact, there's a new adaptation that is trending right now.
Hulu is in the works of adapting the groundbreaking 1952 novel Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. The book won the National Book Award in 1953 and is a classic. Hulu has seen success with its recent adaptation of The Handmaid's Tale. So, do you guys feel they will be as successful with this venture?
I think they will, because I feel like the subject matter really is pertinent to what's going on in the world right now. The Invisible Man is about a black man who feels himself to be socially invisible because of the color of his skin, and it's told from the narrator as episodic stories, right? So he's looking back on his life. So there's a lot of value to that, I think.
I can see on the other end, though, as this is such a great literary work, and it is so intense and rich, and there's so much to it, that I can see it kind of being hard to, come to the screen. You have to have the best cast and the best production and the best writers to really make this happen.
But they figured it out with Handmaid's Tale, so.
They did, but Invisible Man is, it is cray-cray. There's a lot that goes on in that book.
Well, I'm sure they'll take some artistic liberty and change a few things, but it'll be really interesting. You're right, though. They really crushed it with The Handmaid's Tale, so hopefully they'll step up their game and be able to do it a second time, because fans are only ready for a good adaptation, right?
Yeah, and if anything, it brings more traction back to this book that is super important in today's society.
Exactly, yeah. If it gets the book in the hands of people, which Handmaid's Tale has been on the bestseller list this whole year and last year because of that show. So,
And that book was published when?
in the 1980s.
Yeah.
So that's a really great point. Bring it back around. Get the book in the hands of readers.
Yeah, well, let us know in the comments what you think about these literary to screen adaptations and if you think this one will do well. Right now, we're going to take a quick break. Sorry, guys, I got something in my eye. And I'll fix that. But we're going to take a quick break and just so stay tuned.
Well, speaking of adaptations in the works, there's another popular series that has found traction on the screen, both TV and big screen.
Patrick Rothfuss's The King Killer Chronicles is in the works to be adapted to the big screen as a movie series, but Showtime has also found a home for it. The premium TV station is working alongside the movie productions to create a prequel series for their network. Lin-Manuel Miranda of Hamilton is also attached to the project as an executive producer and will be creating music for the show as well. Have you guys heard much about this adaptation, and are you as excited as I am?
I'm excited for very different reasons. You're on the Lin-Manuel Miranda train, which is awesome. And I'm on the nerdy sci-fi fantasy train, and I've read a lot of people being really excited about this adaptation. Now, we've mentioned the first book before. It's called The Name of the Wind, and it's about an orphan wizard who is awesome. And so it's supposed to be like the next best thing for Harry Potter fans. So, of course, I'm excited.
But like adult Harry Potter fans, right?
Adult Harry Potter fans, because it's definitely a sci-fi genre book instead of a YA book. So I'm excited. You're excited. Morgan, where do you stand? Indifferent.
No. Okay, so we have some different ends of the spectrum. Is anyone like between Mo and me, where it's like you have like the musical theater freaking out with like the literary freaking out? Because let us know.
It's a lot. Yeah.
So excited.
It's going to be really cool, I think. And speaking of screen adaptations that are our faves, the new documentary Harry Potter: A History of Magic has been released by the BBC, and many revelations have come out about the Harry Potter universe.
J.K. Rowling has revealed where she believes the origins of the Deathly Hallows symbol arose from. Many years ago, Rowling was watching the 1975 movie The Man Who Would Be King while sketching book characters. The movie was full of heavy Masonic imagery, and the day after her viewing, Rowling received a phone call saying her mother had passed away. Rowling has stated that the books would be completely different if her mother hadn't died, and that the event changed the trajectory of the story. Rowling also now feels that she borrowed the Masonic symbol as a subconscious influence on the Deathly Hallows symbol. Writers often channel their life events into their writing, so do you guys feel like you saw a lot of this in the Harry Potter books and in other books?
I think for sure. I think it's impossible to separate your feelings and emotions you're having in life when you're writing a brand new world, right? So she created this whole universe, so of course the death of her mother would affect kind of the emotions she was going through. And you did see Harry Potter take a very dark turn, you know, towards the middle and end of the series. So you can definitely see that influence.
It's just interesting that now she's saying, I think it comes from this. Like,
Yeah.
Where did this come from?
I think she recently viewed the movie again, and then it like kind of took her back to it, and then she was like, oh my gosh, that symbol, you know, which is really cool. And like kind of like what you were saying, I don't know, I think it's really awesome as creatives, you know, and as artistic people to channel those emotions, and we got to see that in these really great works. And you're rereading the Harry Potter series now, so you're kind of seeing how this is working, right?
Yeah, definitely. So it's interesting to think of what her life, like what was going on in her life at the time of her writing. And I do think it's interesting that she had this kind of subconscious transfer of information, right? Because I feel like we hear about that a lot too. Like you're not sure where you get the idea, but you have this brilliant idea, but really it came just from this other idea that you borrowed from, and that's why we kind of recycle stories and themes and stuff.
So crazy. It's such an iconic symbol. Like I see it on people's like little pins. They have it on their backpacks everywhere. Oh girl, you got yours.
I was like, why are you wearing the Masonic? That's not what
Fake out. Well,
so cool.
most kids grow up reading Harry Potter and other fantasy stories these days, but it doesn't mean that they have to in order to become a successful author later in life.
Jason Reynolds is an accomplished author who has put out 3 books this year. His book, Long Way Down, was longlisted for the National Book Award this year, and he has an impressive resume of many other awards under his belt. Reynolds has been touring schools and speaking to young people about writing and about the importance of finding the right books to read, because he didn't. Reynolds hadn't read a full-length book until the age of 17. He says he hates himself for this, but he found that all the books presented to him were extremely unrelatable. Moby Dick and other classics were far removed from his life experience, so he had to find books that spoke to him. And he thinks you should do the same.
So we've talked about this kind of idea before of getting the right books into the hands of young people so that they will want to read. And I think it's really important that he's speaking up about that to say, hey, I didn't find the right books and my life experience was changed because of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that I thought was really cool about what he said was the thing that got him introduced into the literary world was rap music. And he, took this music that was relatable to him and he said, wow, this is poetry, this is literature in, just in music form. And it got him into literary things. So I think we can use so many things, like we talked about these movie adaptations, about these YouTube web series, about music. There is so much that we can use to relate to kids, and I think that his books definitely relate to his experiences from when he was young, and he can actually speak to people now.
I hate that he says he hates himself for it.
Yeah.
Because I was the same way.
Yeah, I didn't read much.
I didn't read much. I read one series of books at home, but anything I read in school, I remember being lost.
Yeah.
Maybe I just wasn't very bright, or I didn't enjoy it. I don't know, but I remember sitting in literature class just spacing out.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I did reading.
I feel like maybe we could do a better job when we do teach the classics of finding ways to relate it to current topics or what's going on in the community, right? Because like you said, maybe you were spacing out because you were like, this doesn't have anything to do with me. Like he said when he was presented with Moby Dick, he was like, I've never even seen a whale in real life, so why would I care about this? But there could have been a roundabout way to tie the underlying themes back to what's going on in real life, like the quest for something or the need, the thirst to get this done.
And I think we forget how much literature impacts our everyday life. Obviously, we're talking on the show 3 days a week about all of the stuff going on in the world. And I know there is one classroom that follows our show, which is so cool. And I mean, you can see how literature affects every facet of life. But we can definitely do a better job, teaching kids to love reading in different ways. Because I meet adults now who they're like, yeah, I'm not really a reader. And I'm like, you haven't read the right books yet. And they're like, no, still not a reader. And this guy, at least he found it at 17. But I don't think that we're raising kids to really love and appreciate this big thing that's affecting our universe.
And how cool is it that he turned his life around, though, right? He has written 9 books, won multiple awards, longlisted for the National Book Award. That is a huge honor, honor. That means his book is definitely one of the ones you should read this year, right?
Yeah. I think the other story is that don't give up on these kids.
Yes.
I was just thinking about myself. My parents didn't think I would make it through college.
Yeah.
And I went on and got 3 degrees and a lot of debt. I didn't figure it out. I didn't figure out how to study. I didn't enjoy reading until I was about 18.
That's a good point. It takes time.
I don't know. Just some switch was flipped. I had a really great literature teacher my senior year of high school, and he is a big part of what got me to where I was in college. So it just took that one teacher.
That's awesome.
That's good.
So never give up.
Don't give up on children. Keep helping them. Well, let us know in the comments what books you think might be more engaging for young people so we can get them reading.
And don't forget to interact with our content on Facebook so we can bring you guys some more content that you guys care about.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. I'm Mo.
I'm Andrea.
And I'm Morgan.
And we will definitely be back on Friday. So until then, keep reading, writing, and being awesome. I know we will.
Bye.
Bye.